It has been quite a while since I last updated my prediction for the 2020 presidential election. In fact, I think it's been almost 2 months, so this is long overdue given that a lot has changed between then and now, especially with the polling data and the election dynamic as a whole. We are also just a few days away from the first presidential debate, so we will get to see whether or not the very few undecided voters left in the country can swing the race in either direction as well. But putting all of that aside, let's start by labeling all of the safe states for Democrat Joe Biden. These are the states that he is certain to win by over 12 points when all of the vote is counted: Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, Maine's 1st Congressional District, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. Those states alone give the former vice president 183 electoral votes right off the bat. And when looking at things purely geographically, the first two things you notice is that the Pacific Coast and the Northeast have been the strongest areas for Democratic presidential candidates over the past few decades and currently. As for the Republican nominees, though, they typically do a lot better across the middle of the country and across the South. For this map, incumbent President Donald Trump's safe states include Alaska, Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska's 2 statewide electoral votes along with its 1st and 3rd district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and West Virginia. All of these states give Donald Trump a total of 106 electoral votes to start with, which is noticeably lower than Joe Biden's 183. However, this is despite Trump holding an 18-13 advantage by individual states. However, the states that Joe Biden is expected to win comfortably, such as California, Illinois, and New York, each hold a lot more electoral votes individually. In fact, if you just compared those 3 states for Biden to all 18 states for Donald Trump, he would only trail by just 2 votes, with 104. Nevertheless, let us get into the states that will actually be interesting this November. There are 4 states that I can comfortably label as likely for Joe Biden. If you didn't already know, any state that I label as likely, I expect to be won by either candidate from anywhere between 7 and 12 points. On this particular map, New Mexico, Colorado, Virginia, and Maine's statewide 2 electoral votes will all fall under that classification. And in order from safest to least safe, I would definitely say New Mexico, then Maine, then Virginia, and then Colorado. A Republican presidential candidate has only won in New Mexico once since 1988. That was George W. Bush in 2004. And Clinton won by 8 points 4 years ago. And then in Maine, no Republican has won since 1988, but Hillary Clinton only carried the state by 3 percentage points in 2016, which was really surprising. As for Virginia and Colorado, they have each been a lot more favorable for Republicans historically, but they've each trended heavily towards the Democrats over the last decade. And at the time of recording this video, Joe Biden actually has identical leads in both states at 10.1 points over Donald Trump. So it is pretty safe to say that all 4 of these states are likely to go blue. And that brings Joe Biden up to 212 electoral votes, which is already just 20 below Clinton in 2016. Now, as for Donald Trump and the states that I would classify as being likely to go to him, Missouri and South Carolina. They both went red by safe margins in 2016, but Trump only leads by 6.9 points in South Carolina and 6.7 points in Missouri, according to polling averages. That is technically a lean margin, but I will give Trump the benefit of the doubt based on these states' demographics and his 2016 performance. However, with him getting just 10 electoral votes out of Missouri and only 9 in South Carolina, he still trails Biden by quite a lot. So it is definitely a good thing that the rest of the map is a tad more favorable towards him. With that being said, Texas, Georgia, Ohio, and Iowa, as well as Maine's 2nd District, all fall under the lean margin for Donald Trump. Now that does mean anywhere from 1.5 points to 7 points just for reference. Trump won in all 4 of these states by very good margins in 2016, but polling has indicated much tighter races this cycle, especially with Joe Biden actually leading at one point or another in each of these states. However, at this point in time, Trump has a 0.3 point lead in Ohio, 0.8 in Iowa, 1.9 in Texas, and 1.1 in Georgia. It's all very, very close in these states, but the common belief among pundits and experts tracking this election is that Trump will ultimately overperform in states he won in 2016, and not to mention that on a national level, the race as a whole should tighten a bit more as well. Now, if I did have to rank these states from safest to least for Trump, I would say Texas, then Iowa, then Georgia, and then Ohio. But with all of these 4 states going in Trump's direction, he has nearly caught up with 204 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 212. However, the former Vice President Joe Biden also has some lean states left to be put in his column. That includes Nevada, Minnesota, Michigan, and New Hampshire. In order of safest to least safe, it would be Nevada, then New Hampshire, then Michigan, and then Minnesota. The only one of these states that Trump won in 2016 is Michigan, so that becomes the first flip on the map, and it brings Joe Biden up to 248 electoral votes, which is 16 higher than Hillary Clinton, thanks to Michigan's vote count. He also leads, according to 538, by 7 points in Michigan, 9.2 in Minnesota, 6.8 in New Hampshire, and 5.8 in Nevada. So interestingly, he actually leads by more in a Trump state than in 2 Clinton states. However, the final 5 states left to be filled in are, in my opinion, the 5 most important states in the entire election: Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida. 4 years ago, every single one of these states went to President Donald Trump. But now, just 4 years later, Biden leads in polling in all 5 of them. However, one thing that is very important to keep in mind is this. In late September of 2016, Clinton led polling in all of these states except for Arizona. But by election day, she only led in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, as Trump had taken the lead in Florida and North Carolina throughout the month of October. Hillary Clinton's lead was also higher in both Florida and North Carolina at this point in 2016 than Biden's leads are now. Currently, he is up 1.2 points in North Carolina and 1.6 points in Florida, both of which are a lot lower than they were just a few weeks ago. And Trump even has a 4-point lead in the latest ABC News poll out of Florida. All of this should be extremely concerning for the Biden campaign and for his supporters. And so, for all of those reasons, I actually believe that North Carolina and Florida will tilt Republican. And with that, Trump and Biden are tied at exactly 248 electoral votes each, with only 3 states remaining. However, all 3 of those states, Arizona, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, will tilt towards Joe Biden and the Democratic Party. And no, don't worry, I did not forget about Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. It will also tilt towards Biden, giving him 290 electoral votes. However, for reference really quickly, Biden leads by 3.9 points in Arizona when Hillary Clinton never led at any point in 2016. And he also leads in Wisconsin at 6.6 points and in Pennsylvania at 4.6. If I were to order these 3 states from safest to least safe, it would be Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and then Arizona. Although recently Pennsylvania has shown signs of possibly becoming even closer than Arizona. And while Arizona has a fundraising-heavy Senate race that is certainly helping Biden's chances, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania do not. And furthermore, Joe Biden's lead in both of these states, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, is also hovering right around and at some points below where Clinton was in 2016 at this point, before she eventually lost on election day. So all of these things considered, President Donald Trump's chances at re-election are higher now than they have been in months. We will get to see how both candidates perform in the debates next week though, and what kind of impact that has on polling nationally and in battleground states. If anything, I think a strong debate from Trump will actually outweigh a strong debate from Biden, given that it's Biden who enters as the frontrunner. But nevertheless, that does it for this updated electoral map prediction. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you yourself confident in your candidate's chances? Why? And what are you doing to help out their campaign? Also, please make sure that you register to vote if you are eligible and haven't already. Every vote matters, not just for president, but down ballot as well. Also, voting by mail is safe, secure, and efficient. Look up your state's laws regarding mail-in voting and absentee ballots as soon as you can. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe down below if you did, as well as check out more content from my channel on your screen now. Thanks so much for watching and tune in next time. EP out.